Hi, Facebook live stream listeners. You are backstage on Paula, or Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are going to be bringing you a really wonderful show today. We're talking about love is all there is. And my guest today, Kay White, who some of you can see here already, she is the executive director of a women's treatment facility called Villa Kalima. And we're going to be talking more about that very unusual approach to treatment that they take there. And a little later, Emunah Malinovitz is going to be joining us talking about sacred love and hot love that lasts. And we all want that, so stay tuned. All right, so we are just getting ready to start our show now. Thank you for being with us, Facebook live stream folks. All right, here we go. Welcome to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We are delighted to have you here with us today, and we are going to be talking about love is all there is. And speaking of love, we are being brought to you by Sherry Blair, the financial consultant whose whole goal is to educate and empower women to grow beautiful financial futures. And she does that from this beautiful place of love. Sherry can be reached at 619-997-0416 or at sherryblairfinancialservices.com. And her name is spelled CHERIBLAIR, financialservices.com. All right, so we're talking about love today. And in just a little bit, Emunah Malinovitz will be joining us, and she's going to be talking about sacred love and hot love that lasts. But first, we are going to be talking with this lovely lady who is here in studio with me, Kay White. Kay White is doing some really amazing work with women who are in recovery for substance abuse, and actually several other issues too that we'll talk more about. But you know, I think we're all aware that addiction is a problem, a huge problem in our country. There is a huge number of people who are addicted to one thing or another. And those of you who are regular listeners on this show know that part of the work I do is with people suffering from addictive disorders. And what we have found is that using tools, the tools of energy psychology and other mind-body tools, can really help people shift a lot of those problematic behaviors much more easily. In a great deal of what's offered in treatment these days, they don't use those kinds of tools or what we might call alternative methods. But Kay White, in her program at Villa Kalima, does. And we're going to be learning a lot more about that because I'm a big believer, a huge believer, and we'll see if Kay agrees with me. But, you know, I've done a lot of work with grieving people over the years. I've written a book called Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And it is my belief that underneath all addictive behavior is or are unhealed, unreconciled issues of loss that people have developed behaviors to try to soothe the pain from. You know, because Absolutely. They never got to heal those losses, whether it was physical or sexual abuse in childhood, whether it was a natural disaster or a parental divorce or parents who were substance abusers. No matter what the loss was, grief is the normal, natural response to loss. And if we don't get help with that grief, if we don't get help in healing it, then the wounds are still there. And that psychic and emotional pain is very real. And then a day comes along when somebody finds a substance or a behavior or something that soothes the pain, distracts from the pain, and that becomes an addiction. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you just a little bit about Kay White. This program, she is the executive director of Villa Kalima, as I mentioned, which is a residential treatment center for women. The program at Villa Kalima evolved from Kay's own recovery and healing after suffering from addiction and debilitating pain for over 30 years. It was her own mind, body, spirit healing that inspired her to create the program and this beautiful oasis called Villa Kalima and its very unique treatment approach. So I am delighted to be able to introduce to you Kay White and this amazing program that she has created and the facility that she's created right here in Carlsbad in our own San Diego area. Welcome, Kay.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you for inviting me to be on the show.
We need to have that, so you're talking into it. You are so welcome. We're trying to get mics adjusted here, and that's not always easy to do.
My first time being mic'd like this, so.
Oh, all right. So, yes, it's a new experience.
Yes.
But it becomes very second nature very quickly.
Yes. Okay. I'll take your word on that.
First, let's talk a little bit about what's different about the approach that you use, the programs you use at Villa Kalima.
Well, you brought up some good points about how people end up with addictions. And I think that the medical model today is treating symptoms, and they're not getting to the underlying causes. And so, they'll give you, taking pills has become a lifestyle, and it's become, socially acceptable, and so that just masks the symptoms. It doesn't treat the underlying pain and grief, like you said, from childhood trauma or from traumas that have happened in adulthood or whatever that pain is. There's an underlying pain that you're trying to self-medicate. And for me, as soon as I discovered substances, I started medicating because I was so uncomfortable in my own skin. And, this show is about love, and I had no self-love. I did not love myself, and I was desperately seeking that. Yes. And so, I was in so much pain from lack of self-love and from feeling not good enough, and that, I didn't fit in, and I had all this unresolved trauma, which I didn't understand back then. I didn't know what that was all about. And so I used substances for 30 years, 3 decades of, just self-medicating because I couldn't be in my own skin without a buffer, So, my life, my path led me to healing. I eventually got to a dark enough place. I call it the dark night of the soul. And I think that, all of this, this addiction is caused by this soul suffering.
Yes.
And this lack of self-love and this pain and trauma that has led you to believe that you're unlovable. And so that's where I was, and I finally got so dark and deep into the abyss of drug addiction and, dysfunctional relationships and pain in my life that I was finally willing to go get help. And through that process of my own recovery, I discovered all of these natural healing things that you can do. And I learned how to love myself, and everything healed in my life, So what kinds of natural processes did you go through yourself, and what have you incorporated at Villa Kalima? Well, Villa Kalima is actually just founded in what my experience of recovery was. So I created Villa Kalima out of what healed me. And I had chronic body pain. I had degenerative disc disease in my back. I could barely get out of bed. It took me 5 minutes to get out of bed in the morning, and I was in excruciating pain every day. I couldn't get out of a chair. And on top of that, the doctors told me it was incurable, degenerative disc disease, and that I needed to take muscle relaxers, painkillers, anti-inflammatories.
Oh my God.
And on top of that, I was self-medicating with other substances and alcohol. And I had been, just in this dark place where I felt like I had a 90-year-old woman's body, and my life was hell, and there was no hope for recovery. And, through this path that I discovered of mind, body, spirit healing, I healed everything within a short period of time.
Even the degenerative?
Yes. My back completely healed without surgery, even though the doctors told me I was going to have surgery to repair it.
So what were the things you did?
Well, first of all, I went to a 30-day treatment program. And in residential treatment, they did trauma treatment. They had a spiritual psychologist there that helped me with my spirituality because I had none. I had no connection to a higher power or a higher, higher entity than other than myself. I had no spiritual life at all.
Yes.
And so through the process of beginning to sort that out, get sober, get all the substances out of my body, there was a yoga teacher at this treatment center who taught me that there was a spiritual path behind yoga. Oh. And I couldn't do yoga at the time because I couldn't even bend over and stand back up with my back pain. So I started practicing the principles behind yoga, the 8-limb path of yoga. And I got very interested in it. And after treatment, I went to a sober living for 4 months. And so I definitely had 5 months of support. And I think that's very important in recovery, because if you just go to a treatment center and then you go directly back home into your same old stuff and nothing has changed, you're going to get what you got. So you have to have a fundamental change. And I think what that is a transformation. And Villa Kalima, we call it a place for transformation, because you have to transform everything about your life. You have to learn to show up in a new way. And that's what I did during my healing process. I completely let go of who I used to be and went into the caterpillar going into the cocoon. Yeah. I went into this place of I'm no longer what I was, and I'm not yet what I'm going to be. It was the abyss. It's the nowhere. It's the
scary,
not knowing exactly. But it's that dark night of the soul that happens to you, and then that leads you to your transformation process. So there's no transformation without that.
Yes.
But you have to be willing to go into that unknown space for a while
and really
sort
hard
through everything.
For people.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't have what it takes to say, okay, I know that's coming, but I know on the other side of it is this bright, beautiful life that I can have. So I would imagine a big part of what you and your staff have to do is encourage and nurture people as they are beginning that walk.
Absolutely. We provide the cocoon where they can begin to learn a new way of living, a new way of thinking. We heal the body by putting nutrients and taking out all the toxins. So we massive nutrients, no toxins. We cut all processed foods out. We're a plant-based diet, all organic. Oh my goodness. And we really teach them, give them an education on how to eat healthy and how to clean out the toxins. Because
Let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back. We have to go to a break, but this is huge.
All right.
Getting the toxins gone. All right. We'll be right back with Kay White from Villa Kalima.
Thank you.
All right. You are rocking it, girl, and it's going so fast.
I know. I knew it's too short of a time.
I know.
I have way too much to say.
Well, you'll just have to come back. All right. So if you're ready, let's just...
Okay.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are talking about love today. Emunah Malinovitz is coming up shortly to talk to us about hot love that lasts. But in studio with me right now is Kay White, whose program at Villa Kalima is all about love and teaching people who are dealing with addiction to love themselves. So, Kay, you were just talking about how important it is that one of the first things you do with the people in your program is get rid of the toxins. They go on a plant-based diet, which is huge. I mean, that alone can heal the body of so many things people don't even realize.
Well, it reduces the inflammation, and you're manufacturing your neurotransmitters in your gut, and that's telling your brain how to feel. So to feel better, you need to reduce the inflammation in the body and heal inside. So you want to heal your body. Plus, it teaches you to love your body, to self-love. Don't put toxins in because you love yourself, you know? So the minute that you start treating yourself better, your self-esteem goes up. You feel better about yourself.
That's right.
So, that was a huge part of my own recovery was I started eating healthy and I started doing yoga every day, having a daily morning practice of self-love. That's what yoga is. And you don't have to do a single downward dog. You don't have to be able to do a warrior pose. That's not what yoga is. The Western culture has it wrong. They think it's that bendy, stretchy thing that almost no one can do.
Yeah.
And that's not what it is. So So we teach at Villa Kalima, we teach a type of yoga that is a daily practice of self-love, and anyone can do it. We've had clients with, rheumatoid arthritis that can barely walk up a flight of stairs. They did yoga every morning. We had a client with 2 broken feet. She did more yoga every morning. So people have a misconception about what yoga is. And we do a daily practice. We work on the mind, body, and spirit. We do trauma treatment. So they do a lot of in-depth, deep trauma treatment with EMDR and breath work, somatic experiencing, and we have a few other somatic practices that we do as well. We have a spiritual psychologist that works with them on spirituality. So they get a whole mind, body, spirit approach, and we heal everything at once, not separately. You don't just focus on the addiction and the relapse prevention and the cognitive behavioral therapy. The mind isn't even really online yet. You've been it needs to heal first. And you have to get to the subconscious, because the subconscious mind is where all the negative thinking is, and that's where the trauma is. So you have to get past the cognitive into the subconscious and retrain your thought processes. And get out of the negativity and get into more feelings of love and compassion and forgiveness and things like that heal. So it's a really great transformational program for them.
I really love the fact that you're working on that subconscious level, because I find too in my work with individuals, whether it's working on addiction or relationship issues or whatever else has come up for them, they don't realize how much their behaviors and their responses to things are dictated by the beliefs in the subconscious mind.
Absolutely. I had a super negative every day. I was pointing out all the negatives. I was searching my environment for things to complain about. I was judging other people all the time. I had road rage. I was just this miserable person.
And you're such a beautiful, cheerful person now.
Right. Well, I completely reprogrammed my thought processes, and now I think positively. But that was through the practices that we teach. So it's, it really helps to turn everything around.
Yes.
When you work on the whole mind, body, spirit of the person.
That's the thing. I think treatment has always been more about just adjusting behavior. And then we got into some of the psychology and, tried to help with the underlying issues. But this holistic approach, I think, is brilliant, because you can't separate what goes into the body as food from what we're talking about, what we're thinking about, and all
the negative and all the negative thought process that are going on, and the negative self-talk that's happening.
Which is huge.
Yes.
It's a big problem with addiction, isn't it? Earlier you mentioned that you didn't love yourself, that you had really that your focus was pretty negative, it sounds like. You didn't love yourself.
And my diet was horrible. I was Diet Coke and Flaming Hot Cheetos were my favorite snack.
My God.
I went to McDonald's drive-thru every day.
No.
Every day, hamburger Happy Meal, I grew up, that was my comfort food growing up. So that's what I was used to.
Wow.
Everything came out of a box. It was Hamburger Helper and boxed macaroni and cheese and canned green beans. And I grew up with this really, terrible diet. So So
you actually yourself switched to a plant-based diet as part of your recovery.
Yep, that was part of my recovery. I actually, after 5 months of, a month of treatment and then 4 months of sober living, I took a trip to Bali. And I went because I wanted to learn more about yoga, and I wanted to have a spiritual awakening. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I did some beautiful things and had some beautiful experiences, but no spiritual awakening. So I was leaving the next day, and I saw this poster that was advertising a yoga teacher training that was going to be 30 days, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Wow.
And when I read the poster, I burst into tears. I started crying, and I knew that I had to do this. And at the time, I couldn't even do a downward dog. I couldn't even do a child's pose because I couldn't bend over and put my forehead on the ground because of my back pain. So I was like, who am I to think I can take a yoga teacher training when I was 48 and I was suffering from sciatica down both legs, degenerative disc disease in my back, and this deep hip pain that I had every day. And I could barely move around, much less do like all those poses, but I took the teacher training anyway.
And you said that today all of that is
It's
gone.
all gone. Absolutely. It healed within 6 months after my teacher training. It got better and better each month, and then it was completely gone and has never come back since then.
And so as part of the training, is that when you began eating a plant-based diet?
Well, that's when I learned about it. That's when I discovered it, and then I came back to, after Bali, I came back and I completely went. I went vegetarian at first. I was still attached to cheese.
Yeah.
But eventually I gave up the cheese, and I've been completely plant-based for about 4 years now.
Wow.
And healthier than ever. My blood work is great, and my protein is fine. And so is my
that's
calcium.
Good to know. See, that's true. People don't realize there's a lot of protein in vegetables.
Yes. I have plenty of protein and calcium.
And you look fabulous. And you look
Thank
healthy.
you.
But what really blows me away is the back stuff you were talking about. I mean, degenerative disc disease. Most
Healed.
people think of that as it's like a life sentence.
Well, I would like to talk about healing from any kind of diagnosis and supposed disease. I think that you can heal anything, and I have a lot of evidence of that because I know so many people who have done it. People have healed from incurable things.
Yes.
Belief is the most powerful thing. It's the most powerful healer. That's why we have the placebo effect.
That's right.
And the doctors can't deny that. Science can't deny that. It's there. The belief is the strongest healer. So if you work on the mind and get the mind on board into believing that you can heal anything.
I believe
and
that.
so I
sure.
totally believe that, yeah. And I opened Villa Kali Ma because my own healing was so miraculous. My transformation was so amazing that I had to share it with other women. And now my goal is to not only help women heal their lives, but have those women go out and heal other women. And so this spreads. And this is what's happening. We have so many graduates from our program that are going out there and they're changing their family's life and they're changing their friends' lives and they're changing their community. They're giving back. And so it's so inspiring and so amazing to see. And you see that self-love come in. And it's just, that's a magic for me.
And in what length of time does this happen? How long are they with you?
Well, they're with us anywhere from 30 to 90 days.
Okay.
And then we also stay in touch with them for an entire year. We follow up with them weekly with phone calls and emails. And we have alumni events that they're invited to twice a month at the villa. So they come back and do fun stuff with us. And a couple of times a year we do outside events where we go to like a festival and rent a house and everybody can come and things like that. So we really try to keep the community together and keep them engaging and stay in touch with them. And then our alumni program director, she keeps in contact with them and helps them stay on track. She just checks in with them and makes sure they're still keeping on their plan, and giving them support if they need it, if they're starting to waver, or feel, because you go through ups and downs.
Of course.
There's always 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and then you get back, on board. So,
and you're back in the real world.
Yes.
Back where the old friends are and the old issues
Exactly.
and the old family problems.
Yeah, and everything
So it
has
can
to
be-
change.
that's right.
We work on family as well. We have a family intensive weekend where the families
good.
come in and we work on helping the families understand it all as well and get on board.
So important.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
And we meet with the families once a week during the client's process as well.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Please give the contact information for those people out there who are going, oh my God, this is just the program I've been looking for.
So you can reach us at online at www.villakalima.com, and that's VILLAKALIMA. You can also reach us at 760-814-8214. That's our phone number. And we're also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, so look for us there as well.
So you want to remember Villa Kali Ma.
Kali is the
Kali.
goddess of radical transformation, and I
Yes.
named it purposely after her. She's the mother goddess who is the protector of the children, and she radically transforms their lives, and she's the demon slayer. So you got any demons?
love it.
Kali Ma will take care of it for you.
This is Kay White, and I am so delighted
Thank you,
that
Paula.
you joined me today, Kay, and shared about this fabulous, unique program that you've created. And by the way, to our listeners, if you couldn't get that information about how to reach Kay or villakalima.com, it will all be in the show notes on our website, changeitupradio.com. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
dear.
you.
You must come
Thank
back
you.
again.
Yes, thank you so much, Paula.
And we'll be right back.
Oh, we were pretty good.
You were amazing.
Oh, thank
Oh
you.
my God, that was just beautiful. The information was so clear and so
Oh,
wonderful.
good. Thank you.
Yes, so
I could go on and on. Oh, we're still on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so Facebook listeners and lookers, say goodbye to Kay White and get ready to say hello to the fabulous Emunah Malinovitz.
Yay.
That name is a mouthful. Every time I go to say it, it's like takes really intense concentration. All right.
I
so
can't
Kay,
wait to hear it.
I will be in touch with you.
Okay.
And I'll send you your
Thank you.
your link and all that
All
stuff.
right.
And you're welcome to stay
I
or
will.
go,
Yeah,
whatever
thank
you would like to do, my love. Okay. Let me get my glasses. See, I still have that. All right. I think we're about ready. Do you want your water?
Oh, I should get that.
Yes.
Oh, my dress is so long.
It's catching here and there? Okay.
This is the fun behind the scenes behind the show.
This is it. Oh, Facebook live streaming.
Yes. Hi,
people.
Facebook.
Say hello to Emunah Malinovitz. I said it right.
You
didn't I?
did. You're very good. Not everyone gets it right, but you have always gotten it right.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. It's a lot easier when you're just chatting with her and you're saying Emunah.
Yes.
But when you hook the whole thing together, then you have to be really on your game.
That's right. I want everyone on their toes.
That's right. All right, sweetie, if you're ready, we will roll this. Okay. And welcome back to, oops. We'll start that again. Okay, stop. Okay. All right, we'll try that again. And welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. Well, as promised, in this segment, we are talking about hot love that lasts. But first, let me let you know. Let's do that one more time.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to try this again. Sorry, Facebook folks. You know, I told you you were backstage.
It's fun. They get all the
This is what
bloopers.
it's
This
really
is real
like.
life.
Yeah, that's right, the bloopers. Okay, let's try again. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. And we are being brought to you by Sherry Blair, the financial consultant who helps women to grow beautiful financial futures. Sherry can be reached at 619-997-0416 or at sherryblairfinancialservices.com. And the name is spelled CHERIBLAIR. All righty. Now, as promised, in studio with me is Emunah Malinovitz, and we are going to be talking about hot love that lasts. Whew, can't wait
Just
for
in
that.
time for summer.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Well said, dear. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She has studied love and sex and how to have passionate relationships for over 20 years. She's committed to helping people truly have the relationship of their dreams. This includes having the best sex of their lives and probably the best partner and best friend. She's a teacher, a healer, an intuitive, and a guide. She leads spiritual epic adventures around the world and helps couples and singles who are ready to attract the love of their life. Her proven methods have turned marriages around and brought what she calls wholemates together. I love that. Wholemates rather than soulmates, to have sacred love that lasts. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to introduce to you Miss Emunah.
Yay. Thank you.
Yes.
So happy to be here.
I'm delighted to have you here again. I did have her once on my last show, Transition Radio, and it was so much fun. We wanted to do it again.
Yeah, love it.
So tell us a little bit about this work that you're doing to create, because it seems like every relationship starts off hot.
Yes.
And you think it's going to last forever, but so many of them don't.
Yeah, so that was my journey, and it was just not good enough for me. I was not okay with that. Like love and relationships and having an intimate partner, that's something you're going to do for the rest of your life, I hope. And I want it to be good quality. I call myself a love and a sex connoisseur because I want all the flavors, and I don't want it to get boring. And I think most of us want that, right? We all want the flavors, but we just don't know how to get them. And the sad thing is we haven't been taught. I mean, relationships are the number one thing that either make us really happy or really miserable.
That's right.
And, and it affects like a parent relationship. If they're doing great, it affects their children.
Yep.
It affects their work. If they're not doing great, they're grumpy, they're not feeling nourished at home, then they go out in the world grumpy and the kids get grumpy parents, right? So it ripples out. So it's very important. But again, we're not taught these things. And for me, I had to search and travel, and I did for over 20 years to learn these keys to sacred love that lasts. And, one of the most important things is first, you have to make it a priority. You can't just wing it and think, oh, great, I'm married now. It's just going to be awesome. Like, yay, we had our wedding, and now, woohoo, everything's awesome. If it was, we wouldn't have as much divorce as we have.
That's exactly right. I don't think we're prepared at all, really, for marriage, for relationships. Everybody on some level still believes once Prince Charming arrives, then all the rest just falls into place, right?
The fairy tale that we're fed. And then I think a lot of young girls, and myself included, I wanted that fairy tale. And I waited and waited for Prince Charming. And when he wouldn't come, or he came and then he wasn't what I thought he would be, I felt bad about myself. I felt there must be something wrong with me. Isn't this supposed to be so easy? Like, why is it easy for her? Why is it easy for them? And why was it so hard for me?
Yeah.
And the reason I discovered is because I came here to have what I call the wholemate love. I had to get whole first. I had to get into what I call my sacred soul alignment for me to attract the kind of partner that could experience the kind of love I wanted to have. Now, you don't have to do that if you don't want a big love. But if you do, then you need to get into this alignment, and you need to know yourself. And especially if you're on a spiritual path, this is part of our evolution, right? And we can't just kind of hide behind our partner or you complete me anymore. Like that doesn't fly. And that used to be what I wanted. Where's my other half? When's my partner going to come? And I'm going to be able to do my purpose, and we're going to sail off into the sunset, right? But then the universe was like, oh, honey, you need to first stand in your wholeness.
Yes.
And once I did, not just my partner came, but I moved to where I live now in San Diego in love by the ocean. I'm doing my purpose work, right? The sacred soul alignment is our path. And then it brings in the things that we're destined to have. And one of the things I was destined to have is hot love that lasts, passionate sex, beautiful connection, depth, and just depth in my lovemaking and nourishment from the connections that I have.
Oh, wow. That sounds so beautiful, and so much what everybody wants on a head level but doesn't usually get in reality.
Yeah, and then we think there's something wrong with us. But the only thing wrong is you haven't studied, you haven't learned, you haven't put the time in to say, this is important to me, right? And so that's what I do is I take singles through a process to get them in alignment and so that they can attract great love. And it's really quite amazing to see the love they attract. And it's a whole nother level than they were ever attracting before. It's really quite beautiful. And then couples, I create these incredible experiences. I've got a retreat. It was funny she spoke about Bali because that's where I'm doing my retreats coming up is in Bali.
How fabulous.
So Bali is definitely here, magical. And I have a couples retreat where for a week, I take you and I teach you and I help you learn how to have this connection. So it's not heady, it's embodied. And in Bali, this is the most sacred land that we could do these things and honor relationships, right? And so we need this. And I think a lot of couples think, oh, I don't need a counselor. I don't need a therapist. Nothing's wrong with my relationship. And that's the best time to go and get help. go the best time to go and take it to the next level and keep growing. You know, I can also help people when things are horrible, and I have had them turn it around. But there's so much more to have, and I think we've lowered our barometer. Like, we've settled. You know, people have a good marriage. Maybe they have sex once a month, and they're like, it's cool, everything's fine. But they're not having the kind of passion and intimacy and nourishment and deep conversations that they could have if we just opened up the space for them and taught them how to do that.
Yeah. Boy, that's huge. And it all begins with, as you said, getting yourself to a whole place.
Yes, getting yourself to a whole place and learning that your partner is not the key to your happiness, right? Oh my God,
true.
let that in.
You know, it's amazing that we're talking about this because just yesterday, my daughter sent me this beautiful piece that she had written back in December that was about exactly this. It was to an imaginary person, you know, saying, I guess this is why it took you so long to find me, because here's what I had to do. And she walked through talking about all the things she had done, literally what you're talking about, growing herself as a whole person.
Yes, and I wrote one of those letters to my beloved before he came in as well, too, right? Because I want to also honor, it was a rough journey, right? It was a rough journey to find men that weren't giving me the depth of what my heart wanted, and why was that? And so it caused me to do deep inquiry, and it can be painful, but we do need to kind of forward step and say, who do I need to become to attract the kind of partner that really would fulfill me? Because life is vibration, life is magnetics. And
That's right.
I think the hard medicine that I had to swallow was, if it's not the way that I want it to be, what is it in me? But that was also the good news, because I can't change someone else.
That's right.
But I can change me, right? And when my partner came in, it wasn't through all of this hard work like it had been in the past, trying and manipulating and thinking, what do I have to do? And what's my next move here? Like, we have these like formulas, and that's what Cosmo will tell you, right? But in this world, it's more get into alignment. And when I got into alignment, this man saw me and was like drawn to my energy, my vibrancy, right? It was definitely energetic attraction. And he saw me and he reached out to me and messaged me on Facebook and said, wow, I want to meet you.
Wow.
And we met, and it was kind of at a time where I was like, oh, I'm kind of like, you know what, universe, when are you going to bring me this? I'm so fed up with how things are going, right? But sometimes we have to get fed up before we really are willing to open up. And so he messaged me and we met, and he was just so present, and he was so like willing to be in connection and conversation. I'm like, wow, I really feel you here with me. And that was new to me, because other men I would meet and they would be present to a certain level, and then they would get uncomfortable, right? And this is something that I teach in my work. We all want this great love, but we all also have fears of intimacy and fears of letting someone in and fears of being vulnerable.
That's right.
And that's the thing I think I love the most about my guy is he continues to meet me in those places and go to the unknown, you know, and it's beautiful, because that's where the mystery is. And that's how you can have hot love that lasts, sacred love that lasts. You have to learn how to let those walls down and keep meeting in the unknown together. And then the universe takes you on quite an adventure. But you need that groundedness. And that's what's so beautiful to me about a sacred partnership. You know, like everyone can have their choice of dating lots of people. For me, I want one partner that I can go so deep with, that I know is there, that I could like surrender and rest in, because that lets my nervous system open and relax. And we can just keep going deeper and deeper. And it's not boring. I think some people get worried, oh my God, I'm going to be with one person the rest of my life. How boring. But you're actually, if you can meet that person new every time, right? And be fresh and be willing and be in that connection, there's layers and layers and layers. I mean, we're infinite beings with so much to discover.
When we come back from this break, let's talk about some other layers and maybe a little bit more about how you get yourself in alignment.
Okay, sounds
all right.
good.
We'll be right back. Okay, if you're ready, let's just keep going.
Right.
I'm in it. I want it.
Right?
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up with Paula Shaw Radio. We're being brought to you by Sherry Blair, the financial consultant who is all about empowering women to grow beautiful financial futures. She educates them as to how to make their money last longer and how to use it more wisely. She can be reached at 619-997-0416 or at sherryblairfinancialservices.com. Sherry spelled Cheri. BLAIR, financialservices.com. All right, I'm on the edge of my seat because in studio with me is Emunah Malinovitz, who has been telling us some really amazing secrets about how to actually have hot love that lasts, not that just starts out great and fizzles out.
Yes.
But
And
that lasts.
I even want to say, too, because some people might say, well, she's with her boyfriend not a long time. I've been with him for 3.5 years, and it continues. And I want to be honest, there's moments, right, where it's like, oh, here we are in the routine. We're doing the same thing. But then I know to turn on my practices that I teach. And I will do a practice. There's many that I teach and that I do. But
Can you give us an example one?
I'm trying to keep them from, I know it's a conservative station. But there's one practice, especially related to sexuality, where my partner puts his attention on me, on my yoni in a certain way, and it's a very light touch that he does. So it's a specific practice that I teach with reverence and honor. But there's a way that opens me up to another level of my being, my sensuality, my goddess, my feminine nature, that becomes available, that wasn't available had we not put our attention and our focus there.
So
right?
Is this like Tantra?
Yes, it's a form of Tantra.
I see.
And I've taken lots. So in my world, I've studied all of these practices for 20 years. And, there's some sleazy things out there, everybody. And
So be careful.
yes, be very careful. But I've taken them and I've distilled them through my own eyes and my own sacred heart, and to deliver them in a way that's honoring, that really honors
nice.
couples. Because I think it's so important. We want this, but it's really important that we hold this area of our lives in high regard, because it's powerful.
Yes.
And it's beautiful,
I love
right?
that.
And it's not meant to be looked at dirty. And I notice, it's part of my work, and I get shy talking about it because there's so much stigma about it, and yet it's like one of the most beautiful parts of life that we could experience if we understand it, right? So I just want people to know it can get boring and routine, and then you have to come back to your presence, to your practice, to your connection. And whether you do a practice as deep as the practice I was talking about, or you just connect in your eyes for a moment and you see that person new and fresh, right? Before getting into a physical routine that you just kind of know,
Yes.
you connect, you open. And one of the other things I do that has really accelerated our practice is when we're making love, I will say, how much more can I open? And I'll choose in my mind to say yes, to be open. And it's like I'm letting the universe open another layer. And he'll do the same. And that's where it gets to be really kind of magical and mysterious. And we both end up at the end oh my goodness, can you believe that?
And what I'm finding fascinating about what you're saying is there's a consciousness about this.
Yes.
It's not just, okay, let's start kissing and see what happens. There's a consciousness, like we set an intention before we did the show
that's
today.
right.
It's kind of like there's an intention behind this connection.
Yes, there's a presence, there's intention, there's making it a priority, there's putting your intention that this is what you want. And this is key also. We were talking about how does someone get into an alignment, right?
Yes.
To attract this kind of
Right,
partner.
when you're on your own, alone, before you've got that partner.
Yes, so before, the keys that I help my clients get, and let me tell you, I work with men and women. Some people think only women want this. Men want this too. I want you to know that. They want this so much. They just don't know. We're all trying to figure it out through all the stuff that's inaccurate out there. But the keys that I have figured out through my journey is we need to get into conscious alignment. So I need my connection to higher power. This is the presence that I bring. And this is the part of me that knows I'm supported by something bigger than myself. So I'm not looking for this partner to complete me, right? That's a huge piece. The other piece that's really important is our heart connection, right? We've all been hurt. We've all been wounded. And most of the time, people don't take the time to heal themselves. So then they have layers and walls around their heart, and they can't let love in. It could be staring them in the face. But if you're not open in your heart, you can't receive it.
Right.
And then the other part is our sexuality, right? This part needs to be open. We need to have a relationship with it for ourselves first, an honoring. Whereas most of the time, we're doing these things backwards. And we're hoping, oh, by having sex, this person will love me. By this, we're looking for things outside. And I saw this alignment. When I align these energy centers and get them all working together, then I bring that into my partnership. Then the other piece I found in my life, because I'm a powerful woman, right? And I know a lot of the listeners are too. And I have my own purpose. So I wasn't looking for a man to complete me or be my rescuer, even though parts of me wanted that. Believe me, I'm not going to lie. I wanted him to ride up on a white horse and just take care of me for the rest of my life,
read
right?
The fairy tales.
Yes. But that was not what my soul came here to experience. So my soul wanted to stand in my own, to know I'm my own whole being, right? I had to get whole first, which is the concept of wholemates. In that wholeness, it meant I needed to honor my masculine, which is my purpose, and my feminine, which is my heart, my creativity, my sexuality, my intimacy. And I needed to have a relationship with my own masculine and feminine rather than looking for something outside to complete me.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, so all of these pieces of alignment in our energy centers, healing our past wounds, our stuff with our mother, father, then getting our masculine and feminine working together in alignment. And then from that place, I can call in with people this alignment. But we don't do that until they're ready, because otherwise you'll call in more karmic relationships to heal, which is fine.
To learn and grow.
Totally. Totally. But when you're ready, and I've seen it, I've done that with people, and 30 days later, they're with the love of their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And, I think this approach is so important because it's looking at the whole person. Just like earlier in the show, we were talking with Kay about, if we're going to create real recovery, we have to look at the whole person. And I think that you're so right. The common misperception is, or misconception is, that when you find the right person, then you become complete and your life becomes complete. And then you work together with that person and everything is swell.
Right.
But the truth is, this is a universe of electromagnetic energy. And in electromagnetic energy, one of the laws is like attracts like.
Yes.
So what I hear you saying is, if you want to attract somebody awesome, you have to be somebody who's awesome.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. And then that's just how it is. And I know you may be awesome in a lot of places, but if you're out of alignment in any of these places I described, you're going to be frustrated because you're going to attract great people, but they're going to have some piece that's not quite there.
Yeah.
Right? They're not able to fully meet you and connect in that way. And I want you to have it all. That's what I wanted. I was hungry for it all. And I still, I don't want it to end, right? So it's a continual practice and a continual honoring of love.
Oh, and that's so important. And I love that, too. I wanted to say something about that when you brought that up a little bit ago. So often, I think, especially in our world today, sex is flashed around or it's cheapened in movies. It's not... or it's all about the drive for the eternal orgasm. Yeah. It's not about connecting on a deep level with somebody that you really love. We don't see that often in movies. Maybe we read about it sometimes in books. But I love this idea that the connection between two people should be honored and should be considered sacred. I think that's so beautiful.
I think that's the basis of everything I do is sacred. Love is sacred. Love is a gift. Like when you get a person, whether you get to be with them for a day, a week, a month, 10 years, a lifetime, that's a gift that the universe brought you.
Absolutely.
And, I think one of the things that breaks my heart the most is when I see people who've been in relationships and they get jaded and the relationship doesn't work for some reason. Maybe it's just time for it to move on. But because we've been fed the fairy tale, it's forever, we discount all the amazing times we had with that partner.
Like that didn't happen.
Yes.
Oh, that's so true.
And then we also discount ourselves and go, I must be horrible because I thought it was this, but it wasn't. And it was.
Or
until
am I
it wasn't.
defective because I couldn't make it work?
Yes.
Am I defective because nobody wants me or finds me or whatever?
Yes.
Speaking of that, how do people find you, Emunah?
Awesome. Well, all of this is at my website, sacredlovethatlast.com. And you can also call me. My phone number is 619-736-1LOVE. That's 1568.
Could you give that number again?
Yes, 619-736-1568.
And the website was sacredlovethatlast.
.com. And on my
That's easy to
website,
remember.
it is. I want you to remember. And on my website, you'll see the retreats that I have coming up to Bali. I have one for women to awaken their priestess, their feminine. So the women's one is about aligning all these centers, all the things I said to get into alignment for love.
Perfect.
Right? And then the couples one is a week away with your partner where I'm going to guide you in the most beautiful. Your relationship will be unbelievable. And I hope you say, hey, I can have that, and you give it to yourself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Emunah, and all of those listeners out there. Be sure you check out her website, sacredlovethatlast.com. And thank you for being with us here. We are on KCBQ at 7 o'clock here in San Diego on AM 1170, Saturday and Sunday evenings. We're on all the major podcast platforms, including iTunes and SoundCloud. We're on iHeartRadio and Blog Talk. And if you can't remember all those places, just ask Alexa. And also, please check out changeitupradio.com website. There's information there on how to be a guest and if you're interested in advertising on our show. So check that out, as well as our Change It Up Radio Facebook and Instagram pages. And thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. You too. We're dynamite.
Woohoo, it's fun.
So, Facebook live stream listeners, thank you. Did I tell you we were going to have a great show? Kay, come over here and say goodbye.
The ladies
everybody
are
on the
today.
camera. All right. Thank you, Kay White of Villa Kalima and Emunah Malinovitz. Hot love that lasts. All right. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you.
All right, ladies. Beautiful show. Let me just post this.
Oh my gosh, I need you.